What is going on? Welcome to episode 42 of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh, and my co-host on this one is none other than Super Nintendad. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, man?
It is going well. It has been a long day, but I'm glad to be here doing this. So, before we get into this, guys, if you'd like to get yourself a free book from Audible, you can go to audibletrial.com/NPC, and there you can choose from one of over 30,000 books. And you get to keep the book if you decide you don't want to stick with the program. But if you do, it's $14.99 a month. You get one book a month, and you get to keep all the books. When you feel like quitting, you can quit and you can start back up. It's all up to you. So that's audibletrial.com/NPC. Also, the seat that I'm in, the chair from opseat.com. Extremely comfortable, extremely affordable gaming chair. Check them out, opseat.com. Use coupon code N64Josh to save yourself $10 off of your purchase. Everybody in the chat, I know we do this show live on Tuesdays, but hey, you know what? We're going to do it live periodically throughout the week. So maybe Thursdays every now and again. We actually have a Monday and a Tuesday show coming up next week. So make sure to tune in for those. Monday, we have the developer from Elliot Quest joining us. And Tuesday, I'm doing a roundtable with 4 other Nintendo podcasts. And so it is going to be a great time. I do want to say welcome to everybody that's hanging out with us so far. Kirby Geek, Sneaky Sniper, anybody that's just lurking. Thank you so much. So that's all the stuff. We got through that pretty quick. And now let's talk about you, my friend. Mr. Super Nintendad.
Super Nintendad. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about the name. Let's talk about the name. Where'd the name come from?
Well, I guess I don't have any kids. I just really liked the way it sounded.
Fair enough.
Okay, that's not true. I have kids, but I really like Nintendo. So I was trying to think of a name that would stick. And originally I had Nintendad and then Nintendad 64. And then I just changed it to Super Nintendad. And that one kind of stuck. So I've been using that ever since.
It's pretty much your name everywhere, right? Your YouTube channel, your Twitch,
Yeah.
your Twitter, all the above, right?
Yeah. Pretty much everywhere. Yeah, you're right. Anywhere I can get the name, I try to get it. As long as there's enough characters, because it takes up a lot of characters.
Yeah, so you end up with like Super Nintendo in a few a few places.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I don't know. I think either I have it on the Nintendo account and I forgot the password, or somebody else took it, but I ended up with like virtual Nintendad on there.
Virtual Nintendad. Does that include migraines? That is the true question there.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Somebody's got to pay tribute to the Virtual Boy, so I figured it would be me.
There you go. Well, good call. Good call. So let's talk about your history with Nintendo. What were some of your first games?
Well, we ended up, the first time I ever saw a video game being played, it was I was visiting my grandmother, and she had 2 of my cousins over, and they were playing the Master System. It was the hunting game. I can't remember the name of it, but they had that, and I was like, wow, this is incredible looking, but I don't want to play a hunting game. And so my parents looked into it, and this was at Thanksgiving, and then that Christmas, I believe, we ended up getting the Nintendo Entertainment System, and
with Duck Hunt.
Yeah, because it didn't come with the track and field, so it probably came with Duck Hunt. Yeah.
So you still got stuck
Um,
with a hunting game. You just couldn't get away from it.
yeah, but I mainly played Super Mario. Um, and I have an older brother and an older sister. The sister, she didn't really care. She was busy messing with guys at the time, so she didn't really pay much attention to the video games. But my brother, he's 3 years older than me, and so he was playing a lot of video games too back then. And we pretty much there's two of the grocery stores near our house had let you rent video games. So
Ooh.
we would go and just rent a new game every weekend, and my mom would let my brother and I rent games. Both of us each pick one, and so we pretty much played every NES game throughout the years just from renting them all.
What is this sorcery you speak of? Renting games?
Yeah, when you don't live out in the middle of nowhere, they actually allow that to happen.
Yeah, I've told it on here before. True story. I used to have to walk uphill both ways to get to my rental store. It was no joke. I lived in the
Yeah.
country, and there happened to be a tiny gas station with Highway Home Electronics right along I-5, and so I had to walk under the freeway to be able to get to the rental store. And all that was there is just this super old, crusty dude with like a handful of games, and the ones that I remember the most were Bucky O'Hare and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Manhattan Project.
Yeah, they would
So
have Bucky O'Hare there.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
So that those were the days for sure. Well, what were some of your favorite games on the NES, and we'll kind of walk down each system.
Yeah, the NES, I pretty much played anything made by Nintendo. I was like, "Oh man, this is going to be good." And I pretty much, I mean, you're renting the game, so you don't really know anything to go off of but the box art. So, I would always just I picked a lot of like licensed stuff like DuckTales and um, things like that. But then my brother would pick games that he would like. He would read magazines, and he had flowchart like charts of which games he wanted, and he would constantly be updating. And since it wasn't on the computer, he would have to just rewrite the list when he wanted to move one ahead of the other. Um, and so we pretty much played pretty much every game. One of my favorite games back in the day, and it still is today, is The Legend of Zelda 2. And
What? What?
yeah, that is um, that probably outside of I guess now Breath of the Wild and Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, it's probably my third favorite Zelda game. And I, yeah, I really like that game. I know not pretty much nobody else does, but me and a couple of the guys from 8-4. But yeah, that was one of my favorite games. I played that all the time. I played that. I played all of the Castlevanias. My dad back in the day was really into Castlevania, and Castlevania. First, it was Contra, and then that was a little bit too much for him by the time he got to the end of the game. So
Mm.
he would play Castlevania, and whenever a new Castlevania game would come out, he would be like, "I get to play it first," and I'm like, "Oh, come on!" He's like, "I used my money to buy it. I'm playing it first." I'm like, "All right." So he would just play it, and then he played that game like pretty much all of those games. Well, he played one a lot, and then he got to two, and he couldn't figure it out, and so he's like, "All right, I'm going to bed. Try and figure out what to do," and I never could. So we didn't
Oh,
play Castlevania 2 as much, but yeah, I definitely played a lot of Castlevania, Mega Man. I played a lot of Mega Man. Oh man, um,
I love
I'm
that
trying.
Kirby Geek is saying, "I still don't believe you liked Zelda 2 Super Nintendad."
Yeah, I like Zelda 2 as opposed to overrated games like Ocarina of Time.
Whoa! Shots fired! Shots fired! Look out! The chat is going to go
Oh
crazy.
jeez.
My friend Jay from the Nintendo Quest documentary. it wasn't until later on in life, but that has become his favorite game as well, Zelda 2. You know,
Oh well.
as but it wasn't until he was an adult and started playing it that it kind of made more sense to him. And I mean,
Yeah, he got wiser.
I,
Yeah.
I remember playing it as a kid, and I was just so lost. I was just like, because I didn't own it, I would just go to my friend's house, and he's like, "Oh, look at this! It's the new Zelda." I'm like, "Sweet! I don't what like I don't even know. Cool."
Yeah.
And the guy had a sword, and he looked like an elf, and I'm like, "Let's go on an adventure." And then like every 2 seconds, you touch a slime in the field or whatever, and I was like, "What?" Like that does happen, right? Or am I mixing it up with something
Every two.
else?
Wait, what'd you say? Every 2 seconds, what happened?
When you're in that top-down view, don't you do battles with stuff? Like if you like when you're walking
Well,
around?
if you like run into an enemy in the
Yeah, yeah.
overworld, then it goes to side view, and you have to fight. Like you might only have to fight like one little bushy slime, but
Right, right.
then
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been so long. I'm like, did I just mistake this with Final Fantasy? Like, which I've played very little of both of these games. So,
Mm.
the chat's saying Ocarina is way better. Look out! Look out!
I really don't like Ocarina of Time.
Oh my goodness, I don't even know right now. I don't even know. Well, let's get into the system you're named after here, the Super Nintendo. What
Oh yes, the
how'd
Super
you
Nintendo.
get the system, and what were a few of your favorites on that one?
Um, we ended up doing what most people do and then regret now, but we ended up trading in the NES, all of our games, and getting the Super NES
No.
um, with Super Mario World. And yeah, we played a lot of Super NES as well. It was me and my brother were still playing a lot of games together. Like for Christmas, we would get games together. Like we got like Joe and Mac. They were trying to get us like games that we could play like multiplayer with, but
Sure.
um, so we got like Joe and Mac, and then my parents would get me like whatever my favorite movie was, like at the time, like Home Alone 2. They have like, oh, you know what? He's gonna really love Home Alone 2, the game. Um,
Nope.
yep, nope. I played it the first day, and then I waited until February to trade in, just out of respect to my parents. Or I'm sorry, Santa Claus.
Santa Claus, of course, of course. Good save. Good save.
Yeah. And then, but pretty much on the Super NES, I played pretty much everything. At the time, like at school, I was like sick a lot, and I had my gallbladder removed in middle school,
Oh
and
wow.
so I was at home sick a lot, and pretty much just playing Super Nintendo. And so I played a lot of Super Nintendo. Final Fantasy 2 I played a lot of. Um, I played a lot of that. I played a lot of. Um, Jeez, I'm
Did,
trying to
did,
think
did you play the
of
ones
the
I
game.
get in trouble for not playing, like Chrono Trigger?
Chrono Trigger I played, yes.
And
The one I did not play was Final Fantasy 3. Um, but have gone back and played it, but I at the time I didn't play it. But yeah, Chrono Trigger I played a lot of that. I really liked a lot of the licensed games, like the games that I had no business liking, like Beavis and Butthead, uh, Real Monsters, Aladdin.
oh, Aladdin was so good.
Because we had Genesis
I was gonna say
or
on the
Super NES,
Genesis.
but we also had Genesis at the same time. So pretty much we were renting. We pretty much played like all of the games.
Mm.
I was like the only kid at the school that everyone else is like they picked sides, and I'm like, well, why can't I just play everything? Um, that's all I wanted to do. I didn't care what system it was on. Is if it was a video game, I wanted to play it, and so I played uh, A Link to the Past. I remember I played through that, and I played through it twice and got everything. I did the thing where I tried to do every game save. I tried to get it to 100%,
Mm.
and then I did it twice, and then I was like, I think I'm good. Um, oh, actually, I forgot to talk about it at the NES, but one game I didn't like as much as the NES game. I didn't like Super Punch Out as much as I liked Punch Out.
Okay.
Punch Out was one of my favorite games, and I actually have a Punch Out tattoo. Uh, so
What,
yeah,
do you have like the bandage across your belly button?
no, I just have. I should have done that. Maybe I still will. Um, I have King Hippo.
Oh, so
Um,
same character though, right? Like,
yeah, I
so
have.
there you go.
It's like this, just Little Mac, just the two characters, Little Mac and Big Hippo, or King Hippo, and Little Mac. Uh, King Hippo is trying to pull his shorts up as Little Mac swinging a punch,
Oh, nice.
and it's in pixel art. And
Very cool.
yeah, so Super Punch Out I played a lot.
Was it the blonde hair? Is that what just kind of you just couldn't get into
Yeah, I
it?
was like, no thanks. Yeah.
What about Super
um,
Metroid? I gotta know.
yeah, Super Metroid I did play. I'm Not You. Yeah, I really liked it.
Hey, I've played that. I beat it.
That was for Kirby.
Yeah.
It, I was just trying to get some brownie points after saying I didn't like Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, good call. You gotta work your way
Yeah,
back.
it's gonna be a slow road. Um,
Well, you got
yeah,
her to laugh, so that's a plus.
yeah, um, yeah. Pretty much anything that came out on the system, I tried to play. Like the a couple of the games that I didn't play, but my friend had, so I went over to his house and played. Was like the Super Scope.
Oh yeah.
So we didn't get the Super Scope, so I went to his house and I just played that.
You want to hear a sad story about Super Scope? I don't think I've ever told this. You ready?
Oh, oh dear, I'm ready.
So I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and I had the Super Scope, and we played it regularly as a family. Like, I don't know that my siblings were into it that much, but my parents would play with me periodically, like shooting the moles and shooting the missiles out of the air. Right.
Right, yeah.
My youngest sister, when she was 1, chewed the end of the Super Scope off, so you couldn't aim any longer. Like the second part of the sights, she just bit it off like a little puppy that wasn't being watched apparently. So I still tease her to this day. I'm like, when are you replacing my Super Scope that you ruined when you were 1? She's like, I don't even remember. So yeah, rest in peace, Super Scope. Cause
Yeah, so long, Super Scope.
yeah, see you later. See you later. Which I'm sure doesn't even work now because you can't. I can't remember. Did that thing have a sensor you hooked into the system, or was it like the zapper?
I think it might have been like the Zapper.
Yeah, so you got to set up the CRT for that bad boy.
Oh
But
yeah, good look.
so we typically jump right to the 64 here, but we're gonna take a little detour maybe, especially since you
Wow.
brought it up. Did you play Virtual Boy?
Yeah, I did not play it at the time. I didn't buy one, but I played it at the store, and I was like, man, we should really get one of these. And by the time I got enough money to save one up, they canceled it. So I was like, maybe we should get one of these.
Right, right. And then what about a Game Boy?
Oh yeah, I remember I got the Game Boy. I was super excited about it. I was like, man, I my parents were like, we can get you the Game Boy now if you want, or you can wait and get a Game Gear. And I was like, no, I want the Game Boy because I my favorite systems were my favorite games were Nintendo games, and so I wanted to just be able to play those Nintendo games whenever my parents were watching television. Because most of the time they were watching really boring stuff, and we only had one TV in the house. So it's like, listen, if you guys are going to be doing this, I want the game. I want the Game Boy. So I got the Game Boy. I played a lot of Game Boy. I went through a lot of batteries. Um, the worm light was my friend. I tried all sorts of different things. I tried the worm light. I tried the
Worm Light was
ma-
the best.
I tried the magnifying one, the one that like
The
was
Light
supposed to.
Boy.
Yeah, the light boy. Yeah, I tried all of those things. I tried.
Same here, dude. And I didn't even ever own it. I just would borrow all this stuff, and like, I'm like, where do I? Oh my gosh, there were so many crazy attachments, but you couldn't see that thing. Like, you had to sit. I remember there was one spot in like our living room that I could sit in the chair with the lamp light being just perfect, and that was like the one area that I could play Game Boy.
Yeah, well, in like the living room, the family room, we had a light right in the ceiling, and I would always lay down on my stomach and watch TV, and so I would just lay there with the Game Boy, and that was like the one spot I could play it and see it. If I was in my bedroom, I'd have to like lean out, lean towards the one window so I could see from the moonlight, and then if it moved, heaven forbid, I'd have to adjust my body.
Oh man, the struggle was real back in 1989. That is for sure.
Oh yeah.
So I'm assuming it continued with Nintendo for you. Did you get into the 64 and the GameCube and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I got all of those at launch. Um, I the N64. Actually, no, we didn't get the N64 at launch. We got the N64 before Christmas, but not at launch. Um, I was at home playing Myst on the PlayStation One because sometimes they would have like the rent two get one free deals, and
Oh.
so we ended up getting there late, and all they had left was Myst.
Two
And
copies. You just took home two copies of Myst.
no, I didn't even rent two games that day. I only rented Myst for the
That's it.
PlayStation One.
Oh, the
Um,
loading.
and I'm sitting there playing it, and my brother got home from work. He's like, "Why are you playing this game?" I was like, I don't even know." But it's like the game they had the rent. I don't even know where I am. I would like move one screen, and I'd have to put in disc number 3, and then I'd be like, "Wait, no, I wanted to go back," so I'd have to put number 1 back in. It was terrible. Um, and
Oh
so
my
my
gosh.
brother's like, "Well, why don't you just play this?" And he put the Super Mario 64 box on my lap, and I freaked out, ran upstairs, grabbed the N64 box, brought it down, and they're like, "Calm down." I'm like, "How can I be calm? We got Mario 64 here, and we're not playing
How can I be
it."
calm? It's
So
impossible.
yeah, I would have been the N64 kid if my parents recorded it.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
And so, yeah, so we played Super Mario 64 all night long. My brother went to sleep. I was up until like 4 a.m. And I remember I was like playing for like hours on end. And I got to the first Bowser fight. And I beat him, which is what, like 10 stars in.
Yeah, something like that.
And so it took me like hours to get there. But then I did it. And then I was like, man, I beat Bowser. And I was like, I gotta tell. I was like, man, I really ought to tell somebody about this.
you,
But
you
everyone was
couldn't tweet it
asleep,
back
and I
then.
was like, yeah, I could. Let me tweet about this. Tell this bird. Um, so I ended up just going to sleep instead, and woke up, and we just played that all weekend long. And I never touched Mist again.
Never touched poor Mist. See, they were trying to
Yeah,
pull a fast one on you with Mist. They're like, "No, kid, look, you're getting like 17 discs. So it's
right.
like
Yeah.
rent one get 17 free. So,
Hmm.
just be grateful."
Yeah. And it took a while for the store by my house to get the rentals in. At that point, we started going to Funko Land more because they didn't have the rentals as much, and
Mm.
so it'd be like, man, let's buy a game, okay, but the game's $70, and so it'd be like, all right, this one I can tell last core is going to be great, and so I played it, and I ended up beating it in a week, and then I was like, well, there goes $70. So then we
And that
because
was no
before
joke
that,
back
like,
then. That was no joke. That was like save all summer for that kind of stuff.
oh yeah, yeah, and like it was like my birthday, and my parents were like, "We'll buy you a game," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, you will." And so we ended up getting um the N6. We ended up getting Wave Race. My brother got
Nice.
um and he pre-ordered. I believe they sold out of the first shipment, and then he ended up getting right before Christmas was what was the Star Wars
Pod Racer, Shadows of the Empire, or Rogue Squadron?
Shadow of the Empire? Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
he ended up getting that, and we played that, and we were like, man, I don't even know how video games can look better than this. This is incredible.
Right. We used to say that with the 64 all the time. Like,
Yeah,
this looks so
yeah,
realistic. Look at these wrestlers. It's like I'm
yeah,
watching a wrestling match. No, it
yeah.
wasn't. It really
We'd
wasn't.
like
Why'd we?
pause like the replay, and I'd be like, "Look at this! It looks just. It's like they pasted Wayne Gretzky's face onto his body."
It's like
Of
they
course, he was
pasted his
Wayne
face
Gretzky's.
onto
Wayne
like a.
Gretzky's face was every single character in that game, but that's
Right.
besides the point.
Yeah. Remember the camera? You could put your face in perfect dark or whatever. That was going to be a thing, and then they
Oh
decided
yeah,
against it.
and yeah,
How about GoldenEye
um,
Perfect Dark? Did you play a lot of those?
yeah, we played. Um, there. What happened was we played a lot of GoldenEye all the time, and we'd be my parents. Thank goodness for them because they didn't mind. Like it'd be like summertime, and there would be all the kids from the neighborhood. They'd come like knock on the window, and we'd like let them all in at like 2 o'clock because like my friends had lives, I didn't, but they did, and so they'd be out like hanging out, going on dates, and then when they got home after they would like drop their girlfriends off, they'd come over and we'd play GoldenEye and WCW NWO Revenge,
Yes.
and um, WCW NWO Revenge had this thing where if you were in the middle of getting pinned, if you tapped the analog stick, you automatically kicked out. So when you would pin somebody, you would just be staring at their controller to make sure they didn't do it, and then you always had that one friend that would like act like he's like freaking out to hit the buttons and at the last second hit the analog stick. And
Of course.
yeah, if more than one person said you hit the analog stick, then you would have to lay down and let the other guy pin you. And if you hold the analog stick down in any direction, as long as you're holding the analog stick in the direction, you don't get up, and so you would automatically get the pin. So that was the punishment if you got caught hitting the analog stick.
You
In our
guys had like your own rules.
yeah,
Like, don't
that's
touch
how
that
serious we
analog
were.
stick.
Yeah, that's how serious we were. So finally, like when we played, when the next one came out, I can't remember if it was WrestleMania or No Mercy, but when
I
we
think
played that one,
WrestleMania and the last one was No Mercy. I think.
oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But when that one came out, we the first thing we did was tested it. We all right, pin me, and then you would hit the analog stick. You didn't get up. They're like, oh, this is the best thing ever.
This is 100 times better.
Yeah,
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. How about GameCube?
yeah. GameCube I got at launch. What was it? That came out on a Sunday, right? And was it Tuesday? The Xbox came out, and then that came out on was it Friday or Sunday?
I
I
don't
can't
remember.
remember.
I don't remember. I didn't get mine until that Christmas from my wife at the time. So, or
Oh,
still
okay.
is
I
my
was
wife.
working
But
at GameStop at the time, and we had even the employees like you had to buy 3 games with it.
oh my gosh.
Um, so luckily for the GameCube, I didn't mind because I got Super Monkey Ball, Luigi's Mansion, and was it Rogue Squadron?
Oh yeah.
And at the same time, I was training to become a professional wrestler. And
Wait, no lie.
yeah. Well, I got like trained by There's this wrestler. His name's Sandman. He was in ECW, and like we did this training in a bar, and then yeah, he's like,
It sounds like
listen,
that scene
man.
from the first X-Men movie, like where
Yeah,
people betting on you guys. Like,
yeah. He's like, listen, if your parents say it's okay, because at the time I was only like 17. Wasn't even 18 yet. They're like, if your parents say it's okay, I'll pile drive you off the bar stool, the top of the bar. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. He's like, all right, but then he ended up not doing it. He just did it to his son instead. But yeah. So um, I, of all things, I was throwing a punch, and I tore my ACL in my knee because I was stomping my foot
Yeah.
when I threw my punch because in training, and they uh, so originally the doctor didn't think it was that serious, but then I guess it got worse, and so I ended up getting surgery on Friday when that came out, or yeah, it came out on Friday, and then I was in the hospital Friday, Saturday, and I came home Sunday. And on our way home from the hospital, I had my parents stop, and we ran in the GameStop, and I got my GameCube and hooked it up. My legs like elevated. I'm sitting there playing Luigi's Mansion, sucking up ghosts. It was fantastic.
I love it, man. I love it. That's awesome. So, if you were gonna say, if you had to pick a favorite Nintendo console, like we're talking like Desert Island, what do you take with you?
What do I take with me? I think I would probably take. Uh,
You happen to have electricity on this island and possibly Wi-Fi, so there you go.
if I had to pick one, I think I would probably pick the DS.
The original DS.
Yeah, only because it has Game Boy Advance. Um,
Ooh, sure, you sneaky snake, you.
it's only because it's got the Game
Going
Boy
with the
Advance
backwards compatibility. You're like, I'm picking the Wii. I want to be able to bowl and play GameCube games.
in Virtual Console. Thank you. Um, yeah, I should have done that. But yeah, I uh, like I said, my parents they when I was living with my parents, they would have full control over the TV, and then when I met my wife, she would have full control over the TV. Now I got these stupid kids; they got full control over the TV. So anytime I could play a handheld, I will go right for it.
Switch was a
And
dream come true for you.
yeah, so the Switch is like it was like the Wii U was great, but I couldn't take it to the bathroom, and so
Well, you could, depending
uh,
on where you left the regular console at.
yeah, I know I'd have to plug it in and then slide it over if I wanted. I was like, oh, I'm heading to the bathroom. Hold on, and then people were like, "Where's Chris?" Oh, look, the game. There's the Switch over, or the Wii U's over there.
Don't
He
step
must
on
be in
the
the
Wii
bathroom.
U.
Yeah,
Oh, that's dedication, man.
yeah. Don't stand in between the system and the bathroom, please. I don't want to lose signal.
You don't want
Um,
the signal messed up.
and so I really liked the handhelds. So the fact that this is pretty much exactly a handheld, and when I need it to be a console, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
The Switch, that is.
right, right, for sure, for
Maybe
sure.
I'd bring the Switch with me in a couple of years
Maybe.
after they port more Wii U games onto it.
Yeah, there'd be enough. I think there'll be enough games by then, man. It's crazy. It is crazy. So, what have you been playing this last week?
This week, oh my goodness, there's quite a bit I've been playing. Um, the one first, I'll start off with. Uh, there's a game called Arms, and it had a new update, and the update added badges. It added a new secret hidden boss or enemy that you can fight, and it, and my oldest son Dash, he has a Switch, and he really likes Arms, so he's been asking me to play Arms with him a lot lately. And now they got this new update, so they got the badges. So you'll get a badge for they're kind of like achievements. Like you get it for beating.
Don't tell me that.
The only difference is they're all secret achievements because they literally don't even tell you. There's no sign. They're all blanks badge spaces,
Mm.
and then if you earn one, you'll get it, and then it'll tell you what you got, and then it'll give you a bunch of coins. So I've been able to get a lot of arms because I ended up getting like 3,000 coins
Oh wow.
from from getting all the badges. It's like play arms using a controller, play arms using motion controls, and then it just gives you like 20 coins. One might give you 100, and and then whatever like badge you get that might be like a hard one to get, you can attach that to your profile, and then everyone sees that badge when you're in like a party mode.
This is not good for me, man. Even the chat, Captain Logan's like, secret achievements, Josh. Kirby Geek's like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, it pretty much, I believe there's one for like playing 50 matches with each character. You get a badge. And so those badges will like be themed after the character that you get. Um, yeah, who knows? Maybe Mario Odyssey will get it.
Ooh, don't.
Badges.
Oh, man. Oh, man. There's going to be a 100% complete badge. We'll have to do it. We'll have to do it. Everybody's like, we know you don't finish anything. There'll be a don't finish this game achievement. Then I can get like 2 of those.
Yeah.
So
where's the I played it and then you don't play it again for 4 months.
Right.
I'd get that badge in Mario Kart, that's for sure.
What any other games? Any other like indies or anything?
Yeah. So for the indie games, there's this fantastic, fabulous game called Don't Knock Twice, and it's actually not fantastic or fabulous. It's terrible and awful.
Oh, good.
And,
we'll talk more about that one a little later. Then, excellent.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. There's this really lame. It's kind of lame. Game called Square Boy vs. Bullies Arena Edition. And it's kind of like pixelated beat 'em up, and it's not very good. But it's not very good. No, I'm trying to think of anything I liked about it. It's like, when you get like the beat 'em up games, and if you get close to an enemy, they just like hit you, and there's nothing you can do to defend yourself. That's kind of what this game does, and I want to say it was originally a mobile game, and then now it's on the Switch. I think it's like $4.99 if you want to get that.
I have to look at the pictures real quick, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I got it. Apparently, I have to do an update, so we'll just sit and wait for that to happen. But
yeah, we'll just sit and wait. Well, but while you do that, I will talk about. There's a game came out called Putty Pals.
Okay.
And it's kind of like these like little clay balls. All right. Let me dial that back. There's
There you go. You got this. I got faith.
Yeah, so it's kind of like these little claymation figures, and when you're moving them around, it's just like a little ball or a marble. And then when you can move their arms around. One of them is when you go to the main menu, the first thing that comes up is 2-player, because it's designed to play as a 2-player game, and you can play it with 2 Joy-Cons. But what happens is if you play by yourself, it's like one stick will move one character, and the other stick moves the other one, and so it gets a little confusing at times. But it's kind of so you got one that's red and one that's blue, or one that's red or one's green and one's blue. So you'll run into a wall that's green, and only the blue one can go through it, and then he'll need to hit something or make something happen so that the green one can get around. And it's all 2D, and it's actually pretty fun. And I think I'd recommend that one if you're looking for a game, like a good co-op game to play with somebody else. You got the split Joy-Cons, and it's definitely designed to be a 2-player game.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. You stay busy. You stay busy playing a lot of these indies, and you also tend to put up just like gameplay videos on your YouTube channel, correct?
Yeah, I pretty much put up like the first, I don't know, like I'll do like the first 10 or 15 minutes. I don't really talk over them. I just do it so that people, because I know some people are like, hey, how does this game look? And then I just show them the video of the gameplay, and they check it out.
Gotcha. Well, sadly for me, all I've been playing is kitchen remodel in IRL, so or in real life. That'd be two ends. So,
Oh,
um,
in real life.
yeah, in real life. But finally, all the games I've been ordering, all these indie titles, finally showed up. So Sinmora X, I'm showing the camera right now if anybody's just watching, and not just you podcast listeners. If you're just listening, I'm sorry. 88 Heroes, Tiny Barbarian, and Soul Dam. So we'll finally get some videos up on those and see how they are. I couldn't believe it. I was like, the two came in from Best Buy, one all the way from Anchorage, Alaska. How crazy is that? And the Amazon order was supposed to be here yesterday, and I think the person delivering the mail just forgot it in their truck, because I got hit with a delivery attempt, which never happens. And so anyway, everything has shown up, and I got to try to get some review videos out ASAP. So not like I have time to play, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, you got to get there before October 27th. You'll probably be pretty preoccupied after that.
You know how excited I am for that, though? I'm excited just to lose myself in a game like I did with Zelda. I didn't stop playing Breath of the Wild until I was at well over 100 hours, and I hope for something similar with Odyssey. I hope it's similar. So
Yeah, I'm sure.
because I won't stop. Playing that one until it's at least and at least until I save the princess or whatever the story ends up being. But I am going to get up early tomorrow and go pick up the 2 new Fire Emblem amiibo and pick up a copy of Fire Emblem Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get the collector's edition? Or?
I don't have anything pre-ordered, but I'm going to try to get that one. So
All right.
my
buddy pre-ordered it on Amazon, and they delivered it today. So he's been playing it all night. But yeah,
that's cool.
I'm planning on getting the amiibo, but the game itself is downloading right now.
Oh, so. Sweet. And we have a little bit in the news section to talk about with that game. Something that's a little interesting. So Kirby Geek says you're going to end up marrying Bowser. That's going to be the twist. Spoilers. Jeez. So, but anyway, I'm excited. I liked Hyrule Warriors. I mean, I didn't play it to completion, of course. I know, make your jokes, it's fine. But surprisingly, it was a really fun couch co-op game on the Wii U. My wife and I played for I think we played it once. We really enjoyed it. We just never played it again. But it was fun for sure. So, I did get a review copy of Elliot Quest, and thanks to Super Nintendad saying, "Hey, reach out to this developer." And then, like I said earlier, guys, they are going to be joining me on Monday. So it'll be a good time. As far as we're gonna skip this week's releases. We did that on Tuesday, but just for our news and talking points, Nintendo of America is reevaluating its stance on review copies of games after a Nintendo ambassador leaked the ROM for Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What do you think of this, man?
Well, it's pretty ridiculous. I don't understand why anyone would even do this, and I'm sure Nintendo didn't ever expect anyone to do it, and that's why they didn't really plan for something like this to happen. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I was listening to the Nintendo Dads podcast today. They recorded last night, and they were discussing this, and they were like, "Why not leak something awesome that you're going to go to jail for? You know, why not leak something, just epic, not a port?" And I mean, why leak it at all? It's
yeah.
And I don't know. I know there are YouTubers out there that literally have videos that say it's their moral duty to pirate Nintendo games because they despise the company so much. So I don't know if it's part of that whole community. I don't know. I don't know what the motivation is there that, I mean, you better lawyer up and be ready for the fight of your life because they aren't going to be messing around.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious, like the story behind how this person got it and leaked it, and like if they were getting other game codes before this, or if something happened where they got the code but then they gave it to a friend who leaked it, or what ended up happening. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, and I guess the Nintendo dads we're talking about because they're ambassadors for Nintendo of Canada and Nintendo of Europe, and you have to sign a lot of paperwork saying like you will not do stuff like this. You will follow the NDAs and the embargoes and all that stuff, and you basically sign your life away at that point. So it's just I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the person just drank too much that night or something. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what motivates it. But a lot of people were worried about like the Fire Emblem games getting out to reviewers and Mario Odyssey getting out to reviewers' hands. But we did see a handful of tweets today of people with the game saying today's going to be a good day. Like it is getting out there, right? And you saw a handful of them too, correct?
Yeah, and yeah, a couple of people. I saw, what was it, Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny Games. He was like, "Oh man, I just got this right before I'm going on a flight, so I know what I'm doing today."
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm sure there'll be the embargo. I think lifts on Thursday, so the day before the game comes out. So I'm sure if you don't want to see everything cool, stay away from the internet on Thursday.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, and it's one of those things when an embargo lifts so close to the release date, it kind of always puts up a red flag for a lot of people. Like, are they worried about reviews? But I think in the case of Odyssey, they're really just worried about people having stuff spoiled because there's a whole lot to this game to be surprised by. It's not like there's going to be, and I'm just speculating, there's not going to be like some great story like with a big twist and all that stuff, but the exploration alone is what it's going to make this game so great, and to have that stuff spoiled would be quite a bummer.
Yeah, it would. And all the costumes. I'm sure someone's getting right now. They're as they play it, they're getting videos of all the different costumes to make a video showing off everything you can get. So hopefully, there's some things left.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't want that stuff spoiled. So in this case, I'm not too worried, especially since I've played the game and seen what it's like, and you know,
Yeah.
and I know we've a few like Captain Logan. He played it today too, and we were telling him to speedrun 1-2 Switch, but he's played Mario Odyssey instead. So it was kind
That's
of
what he tells us anyway.
right. He said he had issues with milking virtual cows, so we were trying to get to the bottom of it, but he eventually kind of just.
It just turns out he was trying to milk a Goomba.
That's that may have been the case.
Yeah,
So,
that's the problem. But yeah, the are you going to be playing with the Pro Controller or with the split Joy-Cons?
ooh, it's a good question. I was really impressed by how the game controlled with the split Joy Cons, but I could also see it playing just fine with the Pro Controller. I will say I really enjoyed the Galaxy games, and having the split, it did not bother me like I anticipated it would. It really didn't bother me at all. So yeah, we'll just see. Streaming it and flailing my arms around and stuff is not always super fun, but it'll just depend on how well the Pro Controller does. It's a great controller and everything, but this game kind of caters to those motion controls with throwing your hat and whatnot. So.
Right, yeah.
What about
and
you? What do you
everything
think?
they've had shows them using motion controls even when they use the Pro Controller. So it'll be interesting to see if they even let you just turn off the Pro Controller or the motion controls.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. It seemed like you could when I played it at Best Buy. Like it seemed like I could do every move without making any motion, and it would work.
Okay, yeah. You just
So
have more I was hearing people say that you just have more control over your hat and where it goes with motion controls.
That kind of seemed like the case. So
Maybe it'll be like throwing your punches in arms,
it
where
could.
you kind of have more control.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. And we've got just a week. Just think, in less than a week, guys, we'll all be playing it. We will all be
Yeah.
playing it. So
And one
I'm
week
pretty
from now,
excited.
I'll be. It's 1:30 in the morning for me now. I'll be an hour and a half into Mario by then.
It's not too late or anything. We're just doing the late night podcast. So
Yeah.
everybody that's here, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Um, Switch update 4.0. Let's we can kind of rapid fire this thing. We can now capture video in certain games only, right?
Yes. 30 seconds. Up
30
to 30
seconds.
seconds.
And it sounds like the resolution's not super high, possibly once
Yeah.
you share it, because Twitter is going to compress things, Facebook will compress things, that kind of stuff. So
Right. Yeah.
we got new icons, we got Odyssey and what else?
Yeah. We have Breath of the Wild. We have the Guardians from Breath of the Wild.
The champions.
The
Or the
champions. My bad. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was like, really? They put the Guardians in there? But
I think they already have the Guardian actually.
no,
But
really.
yeah, they have the champions, and then um, I think they might have like one or two of the enemies.
Okay, cool, cool. So according to a post from Nintendo Life, wireless headphones with USB. So do you want to? You kind of explained this to me already. Can you break it down real quick? Because this wasn't even really announced by Nintendo. People just kind of found out about it.
Right. Yeah. So I have the PlayStation, like the wireless gold headphones. And in order to use them on even your PlayStation, you have like back in the day when the PS3 was out, you would get these like a USB stick, and you would plug it into the USB, and then the headphones would connect to that. And so that's what you can do with the Switch. So if you plug in the it into the dock, and then you plug the USB into the dock, and those headphones will connect to the Switch. And people have been saying that it works really well in handheld mode too. I haven't actually done it myself in handheld mode, just docked. But yeah, that's a cool feature. Maybe they're trying to iron out some more kinks before they actually announce or talk about that, and that's why they didn't bring it up. But it's there, sort of.
Okay. Okay. And then one other thing is just kind of you can see if you've only played a game for like 2 hours or whatever. Like it shows you a more accurate time instead of some time or
Yeah.
X amount of time, whatever. Now it actually shows you how long you played each of those games. So that's
Yes.
cool. One thing worth noting is that Fire Emblem Warriors has two versions on the eShop. You can get the regular edition or the special edition, which comes with the season pass. So that's the first time we're seeing something like that. It's in a store that is already overcrowded. It's a little interesting that they have two games cluttering it up of the same, like two spots being taken up by the same game essentially.
Yeah.
But
I was trying to think that for at first I said that didn't happen with anything else, but then I remember there's like three versions of NBA 2K on the eShop. So there's like the regular edition, silver, and gold. So I guess there's that. Hopefully it doesn't end up like if it's pretty much on the Xbox store. There's like every game pretty much has like three versions, so it's kind of hard to keep track of. Hopefully it's bad enough with the way the store is now. When new games come out, they push all the previously released games out of the main screen.
yeah,
So hopefully not too many more games do something like that.
right, right. So, and which one did you end up going with? Did you pick up the regular or the season
Yeah,
pass?
the one with the season pass I got.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Excellent. Well, hey, real quick, give us a quick impression of Don't Knock Twice and Elliot Quest.
Okay, yeah. So Don't Knock Twice is kind of a first person. Just to give you an idea of what it was, originally it was a VR game. It's based on the movie Don't Knock Twice, I believe. Um, and they brought it out on the Switch, and I don't think it looks particularly good. There's you're basically just walking around. It's kind of like a VR experience, but on the Switch, and it's pretty terrible. I don't really like it. The If you're playing in handheld mode, pretty much the text is pretty much unreadable, um, and it's just easily my least favorite game on the Switch. I don't even.
You couldn't even find the words to describe how bad it was, apparently.
Yeah, it's terrible. I would suggest not getting that game.
Yeah, let's recount or like give a little little recap of how it went down in the Discord. Super Nintendad post picture of downloading Don't Knock Twice. 15 minutes later, Super Nintendad post picture of deleting Don't Knock Twice. So Kirby Geek says don't buy once.
Yeah,
Don't buy once.
Twice, don't buy once.
Oh, so give us the quick impression of Elliot Quest.
Oh well, Elliot Quest is a great game. From what I've played so far, I played about like an hour of it when it came out on the 3DS, and then I'm playing it again now on the Switch. The You can definitely tell it feels to me like a love letter to one of the top three Legend of Zelda games ever made, and I'm talking about Legend of Zelda 2, and
Triggered.
it's it's fantastic. I love it. It's kind of like like 8-bit art, and it's really good. You can level up. I haven't figured out what to do. Like I got my level bar, my experience bar all the way to the top from killing enemies, but then I couldn't figure out how to actually put those experience points to use. I think you have to go somewhere to do it to level
Okay.
up. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. It looks really good. I like the overworld map, um, and it feels good. The controls feel nice. Yeah, it's definitely a game I would recommend. If you're torn between Elliot Quest and Don't Knock Twice, I definitely suggest getting Elliot Quest.
Twice.
And then, yeah, get it twice before you get that once.
Well, speaking of games that kind of are love letters to classic games, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about games that pay homage to older classics, i.e., like Shovel Knight, Elliot Quest? Um, what do you how do you feel about that? Do you like going back into what feels like an older experience that maybe a little more um, updated, or would you prefer to see indies focus on like do more like just new ideas and come up with stuff that's fresh?
Yeah, well, I think what happens is a lot of times, like these guys and gals that are making these games, they're like the same age as like us, so they played all the same games that we played growing up, and a lot of those like older games they're just not making them anymore, and so they're like, okay, you know what, we really love DuckTales and Mega Man, and there's nothing really coming out, so how about Shovel Knight? And and then you got War Groove coming out later that plays a lot like Advance Wars, and Tiny Metal that's coming out before the end of the year, and that plays a lot like from Sony. Actually, is publishing that game, but
Hmm.
that plays a lot like Advance Wars as well. And yeah, I am totally okay with them giving us these games that might give us like nostalgic feeling from playing them, but it's like totally new characters, and hopefully they add enough to it that it makes it their own and doesn't just feel like, well, this is exactly just that game with a new paint coat, new bleh, coat of paint.
It's 1:30 in the morning. You're all right, man. You are all right. So yeah, I'm with you. I like seeing I like getting back into playing games that are just pixels, 8-bit pixels, 16-bit pixels, 12-bit, whatever. Like I really enjoyed that kind of thing. I mean, even like this tiny barbarian, like looking at the artwork of it, like I'm excited to jump in and experience this, and so I'm all for it. I say bring it on. I the one thing is like I love when you see something that is very high quality and is got great gameplay and everything. I mean, Shovel Knight is like far and above a lot of other games in its category. I mean, it's always really impressed me. Just the way it looks, the way it plays, just the charm that they were able to just infuse into that game has always impressed me. So, and the funny thing is I've bought the game multiple times, but I still don't have it on the Switch because I tweeted at them and I'm like, hey, when is the complete edition coming to physical? They're like, let us finish the current DLC and we'll get back to you. Or we want that, but let us finish the current DLC. I'm like, okay, cool. So
sometime in 2018.
That's what I'm thinking. So I'm glad I kind of held off for the the third time. Captain Logan says bought it multiple times, played once.
Still haven't beaten.
Right. Right. Well, hey, we just hit that hour mark, man. So why don't you tell everybody where they can find you and the stuff that you make on the internet? And yeah.
All right. Well, my home address
no,
is
it's social security number.
Yeah, my last four of my blood type. But yeah, so you can find me over on Twitter at Super Nintendad. And you can find me pretty much everywhere at Super Nintendad, except for Grindr. I don't do that.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Sorry, ladies, and I guess guys. Yeah, so pretty much anywhere you can find, enter a username, you can just look me up as Super Nintendad, and that's where you'll find me.
All right. Very cool, man. Guys, you're going to find me on Twitter at N64Josh, as well as Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram. It's all N64Josh. So if you want to stay up to date with what I'm doing and when streams are going live, I do try to consistently stream every Monday, Tuesday, and it's looking like Thursdays around 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Is going to be another time that I can maybe knock out some kind of a podcast. So just stay tuned for that. And remember, if you want to get yourself an audiobook from Audible, you can go to audibletrial.com/NPC. And there you can get yourself a free book of your choice. And I highly recommend Console Wars or Super Mario, How Nintendo Conquered America, I believe is the title. It's very good stuff, especially if you're into the history of Nintendo. Also, the chair I'm sitting in from OP Seat, very comfortable, very affordable. Go to opseat.com. Make sure to use coupon code N64Josh. And if you guys have a second and you're enjoying the show, please leave us a review on iTunes. I'd really, really, really appreciate that. And yeah, Super Nintendad, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. We will we'll see you guys next week. Okay, the recording is done. We are still live. Chat, thanks for hanging out and being awesome. We appreciate you guys. Sneaky Sniper, Kirby Geek, Captain Logan. Thank you guys for making this fun. We appreciate it. And we will see you guys later as well. So take it easy.